In this video, we'll see how to use different techniques for selecting curtain panels within a curtain wall. We'll see how to create and apply new curtain panel types, and we'll also see how to use the Match Type Properties tool to assign curtain panel types into a curtain wall. I have the exercise file Create Curtain Panels open. And looking around the model, we can zoom in and see the first curtain wall that we want to work on. It's the one here between the tower and the main building. As it's quite difficult to see, we'll first select the curtain wall, and then going down to the View control bar, from the Temporary Hide Isolate tool, we'll choose Isolate Element. And now we can see that this is the only object that's visible in the view, and that's going to make it a lot easier for us to work on. Looking at the curtain wall, we have a narrow column of panels down the left hand side here, and these are where it meets against the main building. And we'd like these to be metal panels rather than the glass panels that they currently are. So we'll start by selecting one of those panels. We'll need to move the cursor over the edge of the panel, and then use the Tab key to cycle through the objects until the panel is highlighted, and then we'll click to select it. Looking at the type selector, we can see it's the System Panel Glazed type. So we'll come back to the panel itself, and now we'll right click, and from the right click menu here, we can see we have Select Panels, and we'll choose a long vertical grid from the cascading menu. So now we can see we have all the panels selected down this first column. And looking at the type selector here, we can see we have 8 curtain panels and they're all this System Panel Glazed. So we need to create a new one. So we'll click Edit Type, and then from the Type Properties here, we'll click Duplicate to create a new panel type, and we'll name this Metal Panel. So now we'll click OK to create that new panel. And looking at the type parameters here, we can see the material is currently set to glass. So we'll select this, and then using the ellipsis button that appears, we'll open up the material browser. Once this is open, we'll use the search box at the top here to search for metal materials. And then from the search results, we'll choose the aluminum material here at the top. And then we'll click OK to assign this onto our new metal panel type. We'll click OK once more to now save the changes. And now the panels that we had selected are of the new metal panel type, and if I deselect them here, we can see that reflected in their finish. So we can see we have these smaller horizontal rows of panels, and they need to be the same aluminium panel that we've just created. So to select these, we first need to pick one of them. So again, we'll hover near the edge of one panel and use the Tab key to cycle through until it's highlighted, and then click to select it. Now we'll right click, and again from the Select Panels menu, we'll choose the Along Horizontal Grid option to select all of the panels along that row. Looking at the type selector, we can see that we have multiple types selected, as the first panel in the row is already of the metal panel type. But that's okay, we'll just click on the type selector and scroll down and choose the metal panel to assign into this row. Once again, we'll deselect these and we can see that they have that metal material finish on them now. So we'll repeat this for the row above. So again, we'll hover over one of the panels and tab through until it's highlighted and select it. And then right click and choose the Along Horizontal Grid under the Select Panels menu. And once they're selected, from the type selector again, we'll choose the metal panel type to assign onto these panels. Now for the row above, we'll do this slightly differently. So I'll put my cursor just to the left of the row of panels here, and then holding the mouse button down, I'll drag across to select all that's in that area. Looking up at the type selector, we can see we have multiple categories selected, and below that we can see we have 39 objects. So we'll go to the Modify ribbon tab, and we'll choose the Filter button here from the Selection panel. And once this is open, we'll untick the Curtain Wall Grids and Curtain Wall Mullions to be left with just the curtain panels. And then click OK, and we'll now have just the curtain wall panels selected. So again, from the type selector now, we can come and choose the metal panel type. So we'll repeat this once more for the top row. So again, starting to the left of the row here, we'll hold the mouse button down and window select all in that area. And then we'll go up to the modify ribbon again and choose the filter tool once more. Only this time I'll choose the check none button here, which will uncheck all of the categories here, and then we can just recheck the curtain panels category and then click OK to have those selected. And then for the final time on this curtain wall, we can swap these in the type selector to be the metal panel type. So now that we have all of those metal panels assigned into the curtain wall, we've finished the work that we need to do. So we'll go back to the view control bar, and from the temporary hide isolate tool, we'll choose reset temporary hide isolate. And then that will bring the rest of the model back, and we can see the curtain wall in its place with the rest of the model. Panning across to the curtain wall in the atrium, we'd like to create a slightly more random pattern using a different type of glazing within this curtain wall here. So we'll select one of the panels again by hovering over it and then using the tab key to cycle through and then click to select it. And we can see that it's the system panel glaze type. And we'll click edit type to access the type properties here and then duplicate to create the new one. And we'll name this one bronze glazed. And then click OK to create that new type. Looking at the material parameter, we can see it's currently set to be glass. So we'll click on this, and then from the ellipsis button, we'll open up the material browser. In the list of project materials, we can see the glass material, and beneath that, we have the glass bronze glazing material. So we'll select this, and then click OK to assign that onto our new panel type. Just beneath the material parameter, we can see we have a parameter for thickness. So we'll also change this to be 2 inches thick. And then click OK to create that new bronze glazing panel type. And then that's assigned into the panel that we had selected as well. So now to assign these into the other panels, we could select them one at a time and change them from the type selector. But a slightly easier method is to use the match type properties tool. So we'll go up to the modify ribbon tab, and then from the clipboard panel we can choose the match type properties tool. Looking at the cursor now, we can see the paintbrush next to it is actually white, and this means we now need to select the object that we want to match from. So again, we'll go over to our bronze glaze panel that we've just created. We may need to use the tab key to highlight it, but then we'll click to select it. And now we can see the paintbrush has turned black, and it's ready to now paint around the other panels. So we can just go over to those panels, and each time we click, they'll be changed into the bronze glazing panel type. We can just carry on through and create the random pattern that we're looking for. And this will work on other curtain walls as well. So if I pan across to the tower now, we can see we have the curtain wall here. And whilst the tool is still active, so we can see the paintbrush is still black here, we can click on these panels, and these will also be turned into the bronze glazing panels. So again, we can create a random pattern on this curtain wall. So I'll choose modify to finish the match type properties tool, and that completes the work that we need to carry out to the curtain walls.